Kiev has also said that had they been invited to the G20, they would have been able to impress upon the delegates and the members the reality of the situation, and it would have helped their understanding of what was happening in the war. Do you think Ukraine should have been invited to the G20?
Ukraine is not a member of the G20, and it's not been the practice to invite external countries to come to the G20 and almost make a submission. We are very pleased that the African Union has become a permanent part, and again we credit and thank India for that decision having been made. But I don't think that it would be appropriate to have a situation where one country that has a conflict then believes it should be invited. Should we be inviting Mozambique, which has got terrorist attacks? Should we be inviting Mali, which has had a coup, or Burkina Faso? If we don't invite them, why? Is it because they're African and so the conflicts they experience don't matter? So I think we have to be very measured in how we approach international organizations and participation within them.
You spoke about the inclusion of the African Union. Was there any resistance to that? How did that conversation evolve?
Well, happily, no, there wasn't. It has been discussed for more than 2.5 years, and I think finally a decision was taken. Minister Jaishankar has been very supportive and has always asserted the need to have the African Union present. And in the BRICS summit in South Africa just last month, Prime Minister Modi indicated that as far as India is concerned, it actually is good sense to have the African Union as a permanent member, and they would be dealing with this matter at the G20 summit. And so it has happened.
The BRICS has more African members now. The African Union has been inducted in the G20 as a full-fledged member. Do you think Africa is finally getting its voice and its rightful place on global platforms?
Well, certainly it's beginning to happen, but of course we've got the bigger one. I suppose we're eating an elephant one piece at a time, because the really big one is the reform of the UN, and particularly addressing the UN Security Council and the absence of emerging powers of the world. China, India, Brazil are absent. Africa. Africa is now decolonized, largely free and independent, but we have a non-permanent presence on the Security Council. India is not a permanent member. And it just, for the most populous country in the world, not to be represented in a body of such importance really speaks to the need for reform. So I think the changes that are occurring are important, but the large prize is the premier multilateral institution, the United Nations, and its reform.